Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to make this meal prep video for you guys. This actually goes out to my best friend Kayla, who needed some inspiration for meal prepping. I wanted to start out with one of her favorite food groups, potatoes. I'm going to wash and chop up some baby potatoes and some fingerling potatoes. Most of my sheet pan, as you can see, is regular potatoes because she just has a disdain for sweet potato. But I wanted to include that because it is a whole food and it is really, really good for you. It's nutrient dense. So I'm going to add 2 sweet potatoes that I'm going to season the same as my regular potatoes. In an oiled sheet pan, I'm going to add garlic powder, onion powder, no salt seasoning. If you have a salt restriction, these are great flavor. Punch and regular seasoning as well, because in my household we eat all sorts of different seasonings. Um, of course, some oil. I would prefer avocado oil. I didn't have it on hand, so I ended up using vegetable oil. You're going to give this all a really good mix to incorporate all of those seasonings, and I'm going to further season this in a few minutes with some salt all over the potatoes, but please feel free to omit this if you have any medical restrictions. I'm going to also salt my sweet potatoes. That's just the way we like them at home. And then I'm going to bake these in the oven at 450 degrees. And while that is in the oven, I'm going to wash and prep my asparagus. Where I snap my asparagus, that's where I'm going to cook them. Those are the ones that I eat roasted, just where they snap. There you go. That's what you add to your sheet pan. The rest I can set aside for soup. I can show you that in a separate video if you like. I also am going to add 3 pads of butter. I'm going to add my no salt seasoning. Again, feel free to season as you wish, as you please. You can add all sorts of combinations here. Asparagus is a great vessel. I'm going to salt this, pepper, and add all of the things before adding some oil. Again, I would prefer avocado. I didn't have it. I'm going to give this all a really good mix, set the pads of butter on top, and I'm also going to place this in the oven with my potatoes. In the meantime, I'm going to get started on my egg bites. While that is baking, I'm going to chop up peppers. My best friend, please don't sign off of the video right now just because I'm using peppers. You can omit them if you like, but I wanted to include it because I'm going to saute them and cook them down. It kind of breaks them down, and you can't pick up as much of the flavor as if you left them raw and in chunks. I'm going to add some onion. I don't want to lose you so far, but I'm going to saute this. Onion, garlic, peppers in my pan with a pat of butter on medium heat. I'm cooking out most of the moisture in them before adding about 2 cups of this green mix from Trader Joe's. If you want to buy just spinach, go ahead and do that. This one had baby chard, kale, all sorts of whole foods. I'm going to chop it up so you don't find big pieces in your egg bite. And I'm also going to saute this and cook out some of the moisture that's in here. Once that is done, I'm going to set it aside and season your eggs as you wish. I went in with salt and pepper and some of that seasoning from Trader Joe's. That stuff is really good, by the way. It just has salt and you got to be careful with it. So I'm going to mix up my eggs. We're going to do a lot of mixing of these eggs. You just want to make sure they're really well incorporated. I mixed them and made them nice and fluffy before adding 2 containers of cottage cheese. If you have a restriction with protein, please feel free to leave this out and just add some heavy cream or some milk to your eggs to make them fluffy. I love to bump up the protein by adding cottage cheese. So that is what I did. I'm going to mix this really well before buttering or oiling or spraying all of my cupcake tins. Feel free to use silicone for easier removal. And I'm going to show you 3 ways. I'm going to put a ham cup as like a cup on each one, chopped ham in the other one, and some just no ham at all for my daughter, which she does not like deli meat. So she does not eat. So I'm going to fill up a 1/4 cup on each one. I use 14 eggs total for these 3 muffin tins. And it's exactly that amount. I just have it down because I've done this many times. So it's exactly 14 eggs and the cottage cheese. So now I'm going to take a spoonful of my veggies that have been sauteed and I'm going to add it to my muffin tins. And I'm going to make sure that everything is well distributed. And that was enough for each one of the cups. And then I'm going to come in with a fork or a spoon to mix this up and kind of incorporate it. At this point, my asparagus is done. My family loves the addition of maple syrup and fresh garlic at the end. And I like to do that. So that was just me showing you. But at that point, when you take it out of the oven, it's considered done. You can set it aside. I'm going to place this in the oven to bake for 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to wash my chicken and chop it or slice it. I'm going to slice it in half. And I'm going to use that same pan that I cooked my asparagus in. And this is where I'm going to place my chicken breasts. I placed some butter on the bottom, and my family loves garlic. So I ended up adding about 8 cloves of garlic to this chicken. Season with all the seasonings that you like. I use the no salt seasoning. I use the Alea oil from Trader Joe's. I'm probably butchering that name. And a bit of lemon pepper. I'm going to season both sides really well before topping it with even more butter, or the rest of that half a stick of butter that I melted. And I'm going to bake this in the oven along with my egg bites. I'm going to add onion again. Kayla, I don't want to lose you. I just added more flavor. You can leave it out. By this point, when I'm going to put in my chicken, my potatoes and sweet potatoes are done, and so are my egg bites. So all that is left in the oven is my chicken. The chicken takes about 25 minutes, and while I'm doing this, I'm prepping my overnight oats. I start every overnight oat batch with chia seeds, hemp seeds, and flax seeds. I also add a pinch of salt. Please feel free to omit that if you have any medical restrictions. This is just the base of the uh, overnight oats. I'm going to quickly move on to my oats. Because I have celiac, these are the ones that are the safest for me to consume. I'm very picky about rolled oats, so use the ones that you like. I'm going to add a serving in each one of these Solterra bottles that are perfect for the meal prep. I'm also going to use For Life milk here. You can add what you like. Feel free to use oat milk, almond milk, any milk, nut milk, but whatever you like. This is just higher in protein, lower in fat. They gave me the wrong yogurt. I like to use Greek yogurt. This was regular yogurt, but I made do. I added about 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Feel free to add the sweetener of your choice. Work up to a natural sweetener. Don't just jump in because you probably won't like it. So I strictly use maple syrup and not a lot of it, as you can see. So feel free to add regular sugar, brown sugar, whatever it is that you like. I'm also sweetening with this apple. I normally use 2 apples. I used 1 for these 5 cups. I'm taking about a tablespoon. I add more apple when I'm ready to eat. So when I'm ready to eat, me and my husband share an apple. We split it in half and add it to our container. Adding the shredded apple and the liquid to each one of these meal prep containers. And I'm going to give this a really good mix. It just adds a bit of sweetness and a bit of flavor. It's just really good. Again, keeping with the theme of whole food. And I'm adding a tiny splash of vanilla extract at the end before giving this one last really good mix. Make sure to get all the way to the bottom and mix those chia seeds. I'm going to package this up. I'm going to put the lid on this and get ready to put them in the oven. And basically, at this point, your chicken is done and you are ready to go. So this is our meal prep. You have meals for a few days here, easy to just grab and go. You can even put these separately in just lunch containers, all portioned out for you. So you're ready to go on your workday. But I just wanted to show you that. I also wanted to take the time, you're going to see this after, to show you what you can do with this chicken in addition to just eating it with potatoes and asparagus and a side salad, because I know my best friend, she's going to get stuck with chicken and not know what to do. So whenever you have chicken left, you're going to take about 4 or 5 chicken breasts, depending on who you're cooking for. You're going to set that aside once you chop it. And this was the only thing left of my asparagus. My family really likes it, as you can see. So I wanted to use it for this pasta dish. So I'm going to set that aside once I chop it as well. Just chop, chop, chop. This salsa verde from Trader Joe's was really good. My family wanted to have some with chips while I was cooking, so I served them up a bit of that. I took a pat of butter about a tablespoon, and I'm sauteing my chicken in here. Remember, your chicken is already cooked. You're just bringing it up to temperature. So I'm going to saute my chicken, then add my asparagus and continue to cook. I'm adding the rest of that mix that I got from Trader Joe's. It's really good, by the way, just because I don't like to waste food. And it's a great way to add whole foods to your dish, like hide a vegetable. It's great. Kayla, please don't lose yourself. It's easy. I'm going to add my salsa verde and I'm going to add heavy cream. This is a little container of heavy cream. And I'm going to continue to simmer this. I'm also going to save some of my pasta water. That'll come in handy later. I'm not going to add it straight to here. I'm just going to save it. I'm going to top this off with about a cup and a half of Parmesan cheese. Feel free to use the shaky bottle cheese as well. That'll work just as well. And mix this up. Once your sauce is ready to go, I'm actually showing you how I plate mine. This is my pasta. It's celiac safe. And I'm adding a container of cottage cheese to this to bump up the protein because I eat a lot of protein. Feel free to leave this out. I'm also adding 4 ounces of my chicken sauce with asparagus and vegetables. I'm going to mix this really well before plating it up and topping it. This is super easy, very delicious. I added Parmesan cheese. I added tomatoes and cilantro. I added crispy garlic as well as crispy shallots. So this is just because I found them and wanted to try them. I wanted to show you that. That is my dish. I'm going to set it aside nice and safely before moving on to my family's. Now to add that pasta water that we saved to the sauce to make nice and creamy sauce, I topped theirs with Parmesan cheese, shallots, and crispy garlic and called it a dish. I really hope you guys enjoyed this meal prep. Thank you for coming along. Bye.